All right. Hey, everyone. Mark here, Mark P Markets. Thanks for joining me for another Bitcoin price action analysis session. If you're new to this stream, here is how it works. First thing I'm going to do is go over the economic calendar. Then I'm going to review Bitcoin from the swing trade time frame, okay? And we're going to look at potential setups or scenarios that are reasonable to anticipate over the coming week, right? Again, for swing trade ideas, possible swing trade ideas. And then after that, I'm going to answer your questions, okay? So if you have a question about a stock or an altcoin, please share it in the channel now. Also, if also do me a favor, if it's an altcoin that you'd like to see, please put the entire symbol, like USD or USDT after it, so I get the correct one, okay? And one symbol per person, please, so that I don't, so I can try to answer everyone's questions. And then after that, if you want to tell me what country or what city you're from, that's always a fun fact, okay? So with all that, let's get this thing started. This is for educational purposes only. For investment advice, please consult a licensed investment advisor. By the way, I am simulcasting. So people on TradingView, hello. Again, would be a good time to put your questions in the channel. Okay, let me just take this slide off. Okay. Hey, everyone, here we go. So first things first, let me see here. All right. By the way, TradingView, if you have a problem seeing my screen or whatever, just refresh the browser. That usually solves the problem, okay? All right, now, real quick, before I get into the economic calendar, I just want to mention that I am sponsored by 8Cap Partners. They are a Forex and CFD broker that's located in Australia. So if you're a non-US resident and you don't live in a sanctioned country, you can open an account and you can trade with them. They have a wide variety of instruments, okay, which includes Bitcoin and all that stuff in the CFD form. And they have a number of spread categories that you can utilize. And they're an integration partner with TradingView, okay, which is a great thing because you can actually trade your account through the TradingView platform, which would be your best choice because, TradingView's flexibility is unmatched and you can extract the information that you need to make actionable choices, okay? Anyway, so just wanted to mention that. Let me know if you have any questions about that. Otherwise, let's get this thing started, shall we? All right, so real quick, let me just say hello. My hellos. Hey, Alex, good to see you. Got my Romanian representing Armand. Good to see you again. All these people from before. Alex, okay, I'll get to your questions. Birak, how are you? Okay, Stian, good to see you. Peter, Mr. Plow, Elijah's, Elizabeth. Man, you guys can't get enough of me, huh? Twice in one day? That's crazy. Anyway, I can't even handle myself twice in one day. All right, let's talk about the economic calendar real quick. So I looked it over, and there's really only one thing worth mentioning this week. And Wedge, you mentioned it earlier. It's the CPI report, which comes out on Thursday. Okay, so keep that in mind. There's some other things going on this week, but they're not as important. The CPI, inflationary thing or whatever, it's sensitive because we are in an inflationary environment. At one time, no one cared about the CPI. It's like, what's a CPI? Right? That's what it was like at one time. All these like PPI, CPI, all these other things, it was like all the same. And the market never reacted. But these days, it's an important thing. So just keep in mind that what the market deems important changes over time. It's going to depend on the current participation, like whoever's participating in this market these days, it's going to depend on their perception and what's being fed to them. And also what's of most concern, right? Inflation is a concern. Years ago, it was not, okay? So just keep that in mind that CPI is important now, but there'll come a time when some other important report will be coming out. I remember the days when non-farm payrolls would cause something like the euro to move 150 pips literally in a minute. You don't really see that, these days, but I remember those days. It was a long time ago. It was back when I was at forex.com. So anyway, just keep that in mind, okay? Things change. Now, so with that being said, that CPI can act as a catalyst for a number of things, particularly the dollar, and the dollar will affect everything else, okay? So just keep that in mind, especially if you're a Forex trader. And it will affect Bitcoin, it will affect the S&P, All right. If the S&P is affected, Bitcoin will be affected. Make sure you understand that relationship. All right. Now, next things next. Let's get to Bitcoin, right? So on the swing trade time frame, it's very interesting how it played out from what we looked at earlier, right? That day trade was very tricky that I showed earlier. I'm not going to talk about that here. This is for swing trades, okay? I don't want to confuse people. But the point is, we'll review that tomorrow. But here's the thing. So as far as swing trade goes, I mean, this sell signal that basically developed yesterday, that from this time frame, that's still in play. This is not a bullish pin bar, okay? It's trying to be a pin bar, but the open to the close is too wide, okay? So anyway, it's too early to make any judgments because we still have a few hours before this thing closes, right? So here's the thing. If this thing closes weak, then bearish momentum is in play, all right? If this thing closes strong, meaning it just completely turns into a pin bar, then we're looking at a potential test of high over, either the next day, possibly going into Thursday, right? That's possible that this thing can create a double top up in that area, or maybe work its way a little higher toward this resistance. That's possible. But what I'm laying out here is a potential scenario. It's not something that we can think in absolutes. I don't want you to get mixed up with some kind of nonsense opinion. We're considering the market from both sides, okay? And then taking a position on that is going to depend on how aggressive or conservative you want to be, and what side you want to work on in the market. When it comes to swing trades, it's usually, especially if you're inexperienced, it's better to work on the side of the broader trend. Okay, it doesn't mean you always have to do that, but if you're going to go counter trend, you need to understand what can go wrong. Okay, that's really the key thing. So anyway, the point is this: like I mentioned earlier, this general trend is still bearish. Okay, so anyone that thinks this is bullish, you're looking at the wrong information, or you're listening to the wrong fake guru. Just because we have a higher low here does not constitute a trend change. And I pointed this out earlier. We still need to take out this zone before we can start saying anything bullish about Bitcoin on the bigger picture. Okay. I know everyone wants to have hope and everyone wants to see this thing go back to 50,000. I understand, but we have to go by objective facts, not things that make you feel good. Hope will not pay your bills. Okay. So stop listening to people that feed you hope. I'm not sitting here being Mr. Bear and Mr. Pessimistic. I'm objective. If the market tells me to be bearish, I'll be bearish. If the market tells me to be bullish, I'll be bullish. I have no opinion, okay? I'm a follower. I have a blank mind. I am a follower. I don't think in absolutes. I don't know where Bitcoin will be tomorrow or a week from now, and I don't pretend to know, and no oscillator is going to help me know. I go by the facts and the information and the evidence that the market provides for me. When the market gives me new information, I adjust. If I have a trade on and I'm wrong, I get stopped out. Okay, that's why risk management is the key thing here, really. If you want to get good at this, not how long should I hold my position, or how do I use this oscillator? You're focused on gimmicks and you will never get anywhere. I'm telling you, I've spent 15 years doing the wrong things, so I'm an expert at what does not work. Okay, and I know why now. Anyway, I've talked about that a million times. So here's the thing about this again, what to do if you're short, because I had called a short but like a week ago or whatever. The new short was 20,250. Okay, and it was based on this area here. And I've been talking about getting out on a conflicting signal, and I'm personally not short because I don't short Bitcoin. People want the signal, I'll share the signal. All right, and then it's up to you after that. Now here's the thing. This is a conflicting signal. If you got out, then okay, you're out. And there is a new signal to get back in. Okay, I have not called this one, but that's a signal. Okay, so what to do if you can get back in at a decent price, or if you short this thing now, you're taking a little more risk. Okay, but there is a short signal still in play. If this thing closes as a bullish pin bar, you're going to have to take the loss. Okay, because something that's weak should not produce a bullish pin bar here. Should not. Okay, that would be not what we want to see. So just keep that in mind. If it produces something like it looks like right now, then that doesn't really mean anything. Okay, and what you're really looking for is like a bearish continuation, maybe an inside bar takes out the low, something like that. The market may get very erratic going into CPI possibly, all right? And it's going to depend on the dollar and stuff like that. So that's the thing. I mean, so theoretically, based on structure, the side to lean on would be the short side and let that signal play out. So if you're short from the new signal, 20,250 at this point, you let it ride. Okay, if you're still in it, just let it ride and see if a new conflicting signal develops. Keep in mind, if it develops, reversing and going long is really not a great idea. Okay, because you're going right back into this resistance and you can easily fail here. It's a great place for this thing to fail. All right, and if you do take that aggressive trade, understand that you're targeting this area up here. All right, I would not really expect this thing to go further. All right, anyone that's saying that this thing's going to go to 50,000 by next month, if anyone's saying that, they're just pulling your leg. Okay, they're just looking for attention and they're trying to monetize your attention and your watch time. Okay, that's all there. That's all that's going on there, because this environment, if you just look at the bond market, this environment does not support a sustainable rally. We need cheap money. The bond market, cheap money comes from the bond market. Okay, that's where the party starts. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you need to understand how the economy works and how the seasonality of money works. It all begins with the bond market. So the easy money environment that we had over the 2 years previously, we don't have that now. Okay, and you could thank the bond market for that. So rates are rising. If rates continue to rise, these things are most likely not going anywhere far. Now, markets can be irrational. So you can see these bullish movements, but it doesn't mean that they're going to continue. If you suffer from the fear of missing out, you're only fooling yourself. You're not missing out on anything. If anything, you're looking for longs on this thing, wait for supports at 18K. Okay. In fact, that's where my short target is, around 18K. That's where I would think that would be a good place to get out of the short. If you're short from here, a good 2,000 point swing trade, that would make sense. Okay. Can it break lower? Theoretically, it should. I've been calling for 17K all summer and it just doesn't want to go there. So hey, look, the market doesn't have to agree with me, but I still think it's within reason. Okay. And it can still happen if we get some bearish catalysts that can come out of nowhere. Okay. Does that make sense? So that's my Bitcoin outlook generally here. And I wrote basically these same points in my TradingView article. If you have not read that, you should. Okay. Anyway, so now that's my outlook on there. Let me know what you have questions on, if you have questions about Bitcoin, and I'm going to start going through the chats now. By the way, this stream is typically, I try to keep this at an hour, okay? Because it's just, I don't want to go over that. All right, so let me start here with the YouTube people. All right, can you look at Gevo? It was a bear market before it started to break resistances. What is Gevo? Is that a stock? All right, I'm going to type in the stock symbol. Let's see. I'll try that. Gevo. The hell is that? I guess it's a company. Okay, on the NASDAQ. Okay, and let's go to the weekly chart first. Okay, a decade-long bear market, you say? I don't know. Let's go back a bit here. Okay. All right. So here's the thing. I mean, looking at the recent price action, right, and not recent relative to this chart, going back a year, you had this move, right? This run up here. You're mentioning here looks like a 1-2. Well, it's yeah. I mean, 1-2s you can't really. It's possible 1-2, but 3 has to come in and confirm, right? So it's basically you're looking at a potential higher low. It's wave 4 that's actually when you can get to a wave 4. That's when you can say the configuration is likely in place, a 5-wave configuration. 1-2 may not, can fool you many times. Okay, especially since 2 can test all the way back to the bottom of 1. But as far as the way this thing looks, you have the possible higher low. But the thing is, this is a weekly chart. You're still competing with all these lower highs. I mean, there are lower highs everywhere here. Now it's trying to find a bottom. Okay, so I would say if you're looking for a long, it's aggressive, right? Because the higher low may develop, but I don't know what they do. So I don't know. I mean, it's a NASDAQ stock, so maybe it's some kind of tech stock. I don't know. But the thing is, if they're sensitive to interest rates and all that kind of stuff, they're probably not going to go anywhere. Yeah, how much is this thing? $2.27. Okay. If that's the correct symbol, here's the thing. This is a growth stock. You're not in an environment for this thing to really do anything spectacular. Okay. So if you want to keep it on your radar, you want to accumulate small shares. And as the environment, when the cheap money comes back, that's usually when these things have their potential. Okay, but if you want to wait for a technical sign, let it take out a resistance. All right, like 373. That's the first step that it needs to take. And then that's when you can either start accumulating, or you're looking for a swing trade. Something like this is probably best for accumulation, and hold on for maybe like almost a year, that kind of thing. So in a situation like this, you're at this nice low. It can go lower, so you can also accumulate small shares. But just keep in mind, just like that butterfly trade that has been talked about, this thing is in that category. So keep that in mind. It's probably not going to do anything spectacular anytime soon. It doesn't matter how great the technicals are. If there's no cheap money coming into these things, they're going nowhere. All right, so just keep that in mind. It doesn't mean you should avoid them. Certainly keep them on your radar. Take small bites if you have to, but wait for the evidence. Let resistances start to clear. Of course, there should be some other fundamental factors that are taking place, like perhaps the bond market establishes a bottom, okay, and then rates start coming off. Perhaps the Federal Reserve comes out and says, we're not going to keep raising, right? And then these things will start to get a little more interesting, all right? And believe me, I'm watching for that, and I'm looking to put a group of these things together. So thank you for mentioning Gevo. Okay, let me move along here. Let me go to the other chat. Let me speak you guys on. Hey, Jay, Joel, good to see you. G. Simone, all right, all my regulars. I got Steen in there too. Man, Steen has to watch me on both channels. The range where, okay, so yeah, I'm going to get to that question, Steen. In fact, I'll jump to that now. So let's go take a look here. I forgot to say that it's a stock. Okay, got it. All right. So let's jump over to Euro. All right. Now Euro, because I had this nice trade I had two nice trades recently in the Euro, which you guys can easily look up. Steen knows, he was in the second one. Now, here's the thing. He asks, is this the area to be looking for shorts? Absolutely. I mean, look at this. Definitely, it's an area to be watching for shorts. I'm watching for shorts. I mean, look at that. That's an old support, right? Broke, become a resistance, and now we're testing that again. So again, this is a function of the dollar. When it comes to judging the euro, don't judge the euro in isolation. Make sure you take a look at the dollar index, okay? And make sure that you're always monitoring this. Look at this. We talked about this earlier. So as long as the dollar stays above this support, as long as it stays, I mean, it's testing, right? It's testing the support, and there's no buy signal there yet, right? That's why the euro looks all frothy. This thing reverses here, we're going to see another sell signal most likely in that euro if this thing generates the buy signal. That's what you have to watch for. I mean, the euro is like a complete inverse of this thing. And if I see it, I'm going to be looking to short that again, okay? So keep that in mind, short the euro. That's what I'm looking at. So we're in the location, yes. There's just no reason to go short yet, right? Don't step in front of it. All right, so that's the euro. Good question, Steen. So certainly a place to start watching for shorts. Dollar Canadian, okay, sure, Dorant. So there's some news coming out on this thing. I think their bank their bank person, whatever, the Bank of Canada, I believe they have a speaker this week. So the dollar, look, dollar against this is the dollar. Notice the dollar first in this pair. So this is basically a reflection of the dollar, right? And if the dollar continues pulling back, right, this thing is going to break the support. But this thing is at a support. So you're watching for the buy signal here. Just like we're looking for the short signal in the euro, you're looking for the buy signal here. There's nothing here. You have an inside bar, all right, but the next candle needs to open and it needs to take out the high. But also you need to see a similar action in the dollar index. If you don't, this thing can just trick you into some noise. Don't get caught in that. I mean, this pair is strong. Clearly, it's following the dollar. It's a reflection of the dollar. So as long as that dollar stays strong, this is a great location for a long. Just wait for the setup. Don't jump in front of it. Don't be impatient. There'll be plenty of opportunity to get in. All right, we're watching this time frame. It's a matter of a candle or two. If this thing breaks and keeps going, you don't want to get caught in that. All right, so thanks for asking. All right, let's move along here. Let me jump over to the other chat. Okay, Burak, could you check XA? Sure. It's a Turkish line. Okay, just type in XU100 US and press enter. Okay, all right, cool. Thanks for the specific instructions. So XU 100 against the Turkish lira. That should be interesting. So let's take a look. Oh yeah, look at that. So, well, again, this is the valuation problem of the Turkish lira, right? I mean, the Turkish lira has been weak, continues to weaken, obviously, and you're looking at, I guess, an index here. I guess that's the Turkish 100, right, against a currency that's losing its value. So, of course, it's vertical, okay? So what do you do with this? Well, you can't buy this here and you can't short this here, right? It's a bad idea for both. You're just getting in this thing's way. If you're looking to trade this thing, you need to wait for a pullback. As you can see, I mean, this is super strong because you have both forces working, in tandem. Okay, you have a weakening currency, and obviously, when a currency it costs more money to buy the same product, right? That's inflation. That's what you're looking at over here. So here's the thing: wait for some kind of little pullback and a buy signal. If you're looking to buy this thing, wait for one of these. Look at these, right? That's the kind of price action you're looking for. That is super strong. No reason to short this. So maybe you get another little continuation pattern, like a little pullback and another long, all right? That kind of thing. That's all I can say. Don't want to. The mistake you don't want to make here is you don't want to say, well, it's overbought. It's way too strong. Got to short this thing. I mean, look, let's look back up here. Let's go back a few years. I mean, look at this thing. Wow, that thing's vertical. This thing looks like an altcoin. Okay, this thing looks like Cardano used to look. I like to pick on Cardano. So look at this, right? It blew through that resistance, which is very interesting. So I can understand maybe a temptation to go short, but it's still, there's no signal. Okay, so you may have a location if you're interested in that idea, but all I'm going to say is, keep in mind if it turns the wrong way, like what if you got that short idea right here? It's, oh, look, bearish candle. Okay, I'm going to short that. And then you get caught in this. So keep in mind, it might be a short, but this is going back a year, right? The environment changes. This may continue. So theoretically, you're better off going with the short-term momentum, and that's bullish. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. If you get like a double top develop over here and you want to consider an aggressive short, you can keep that in mind too and start targeting these support levels. All right, but that's aggressive and things can go wrong very quickly. All right, so I just want to make sure that's clear. Thank you for bringing that up. That's an interesting example. By the way, Burak, the student area of the server is going to be more active again soon, so I know you have access to that. So just wanted you to know you can put questions in there and stuff. Okay. Hey, main source. Okay. Can you take a look at Cake? All right. So I'm guessing that's an altcoin. Again, if you have altcoins you want me to take a look at, just please make sure you put USD or USDT after it. Otherwise, I'll look at the wrong symbol. I'm guessing unless I'm wrong, let me know. If Cake is a stock, let me know. Okay. So this is Cake against Tether. This is the daily chart. Let's take a look at a weekly chart first. All right. Let's kind of get some perspective from the bigger picture. If this is correct, let me know if it's wrong. Again, here's the thing. While some people may be saying that this thing is reversed and we're in a bull market, blah, 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 there's nothing impressive going on here. That's your resistance right there. And it's beginning to get hesitant. So it may be slowing there and trying to work its way, toward there, but there's nothing bullish about this, nothing. Okay. And we're not in an environment that supports this. I don't care how great they are. I don't care what they do. It does not matter. If there's no cheap money, it's not going anywhere. Doesn't matter how great their ideas are. There's some ridiculous ideas out there. Yes, they sound good, but we're just not in the environment for them right now. Okay. And you have to accept that. So I'm not just saying you, I'm just saying in general, people get all optimistic about this and on the bottom is in, I'm going to have the next Bitcoin. No, you're not. Not yet. Okay. So as far as technicals go, you have, look at the hesitation here. You have this double top situation developing. Again, this is a weekly chart. So this current candle is an inside bar. This thing closes like this. You have the whole week. If it closes and takes out the low next week, you have a sell signal near an area where a sell signal is highly likely to develop. Okay, keep that in mind in an environment that does not support it. Okay, so that's what I say about Cake. Hopefully that's the correct symbol. Let's move along. So again, understand, I don't form opinions here, right? People they want me to tell them, well, you have a winner here, and in 3 months it's going to be 10x. Like that's what they want to hear. I understand that, and that's what your fake gurus will tell you. What I'm showing you here is reality, and I'm showing you this reality is based on price structure, right? And that's what price action analysis is all about. I trust the price because the price knows everything in the world. I don't know anything. So the price tells me what to think. And if the price gives me new information, I adjust. And then I think something new because price told me, think something new. Okay. Right. And I let the market tell me what to do. I don't operate from an egocentric point of view as most retail traders. I operate from a market centric point of view. All right. Think about that. Okay. Next. I have BTC 21700 looks like a strong resistance, Peter says. Okay, so well, it's basically it's 22K. I mean, that's basically where the sticking point is. When we go back to Bitcoin, it's really the 22K area, right? It's really, I'll draw a rectangle there. It's really like this area over here. So don't get too obsessed with like one price. 21,700 may be a sticking point temporarily, but it's very random. And if price tests it again, it can blow through it. And if it blows through it, it doesn't really mean anything. It needs to clear this area to really do anything significant or anything meaningful where we can start making adjustments to our outlook. Okay, Mr. Plow. All right, no problem. Cool. I'm glad you can appreciate what I say. A lot of people don't. Interesting. I got 23 people here. All right. Almost 30. Still not, Alex, I don't have 2,300 yet, but I got more from before. More people show up from before. I guess it's a better time for a lot of people. Okay. Let me see what else I got here. Okay. Got cake. 10-4. Okay. Can you check AMD? Okay, sure. AMD. So AMD, as we know, is an industry leader, right? Semiconductor stock. Let me put it in here. AMD. And AMD is going to be a reflection of the NASDAQ, right? Or basically the NASDAQ is a reflection of these type of stocks. Now, keep in mind, right? This is your daily chart, man. That chart doesn't look so good. Is this the right chart? Yeah. Okay. Let's go to the weekly chart. And yeah, this is back. We used to call some trades in this thing. So again, look, like many stocks or even like some of those altcoins, kind of like that cake chart that we just looked at. Look at the sell-off, okay? And look, it's just trying to basically retrace. Do you trust this retracement? Do you trust this? I hope you don't, because that's just basically a corrective move in a generally bearish structure. So it's just correcting the bearish structure. There's nothing bullish about that, okay? So if anything, if you're thinking about investing, well, hey, at least you're not buying the high, that's for sure. But keep in mind, rising rates are bad for tech stocks, especially stocks like this, especially if they borrow a lot of money. I don't know what their borrowing situation is, okay? But these type of stocks suffer when rates rise, and rates are poised to continue to rise. Not good for these stocks. So, is this a bad time to invest in these? Well, it's not, there's never a bad time to invest. Just understand that this thing can test the low very easily, 54, 57, okay? It can easily test that low and go lower over the next few weeks or months. I mean, your next support on this thing, you're going all the way back to here, possibly. So, what do you do as an investor? Well, you take small bites, right? First, you need to have an investment plan all laid out before you even put your first dollar to work. You have to have it all laid out. How aggressive, what's your conservative side of the portfolio look like? What does your aggressive side look like? How much money are you allocating to each section? Okay, and what's the premise behind each section? And also, how should they fare as the environment changes, right? That's called sector rotation. You should have that all planned out. If you're like, well, I'm just going to buy this stock on my Robinhood account, I'm going to buy that one, you might as well play the lottery. You might as well play like a slot machine, or you might as well, because you're just going to be subject to the general sentiment of the market. Okay. So, like I said, it's never a bad time to invest, but when the market's not exactly supportive, you invest less, small bites, This thing pushes 54 even. Next thing you know, it's testing 54. You can buy more. Of course, you have to have your set. You have to have an allocation predetermined, meaning, you know, you're going to allocate $5,000 to this thing. Okay, and you're going to do it $100 at a time. That's tiny. Okay, what is that? What is that on this thing? That's one, 2 shares at a time at this price, or 1.5 shares basically at a time. If this thing pulls back 10 points, you're going to be like, you know, once a month you buy your $100 worth or $200 worth, and then you can average in carefully and much more slowly. Okay, and then when the market starts to establish a bottom and rates start coming off, now you'll have inventory from a good average price, and then perhaps at that point you can start aggressively putting on more, reaching until you reach your allocation, your target allocation. Does that make sense? Okay, I'm not going to go over investing plans here, but that's the general idea. All right. So thanks for asking about AMD. See you. Okay, speaking another language there. I don't know what that is. Is that French? Is that Spanish? I can't tell. See you. See. Yeah, you're gonna have to speak in English. It doesn't look Spanish. Okay. Anyway, maybe someone could translate that for me. Putia. Is that a bad word? I don't know. It might be. Okay, Steve. Joby. Okay. Okay, that just applied. Okay. Joby. All right, that's a new one. Let's take a look. Joby. All right. Let's first take a look at the weekly chart. Notice when I'm not familiar with a stock, right? The first thing I look at is I want to see the bigger picture. Where does this thing come from? What's the general trend structure, right? Without blinking an eye, it's bearish. Okay. I mean, I can just I don't have to spend 2 seconds to know that. Bearish. Lower highs, lower lows. Okay. First thing, right? We have all these lower highs over here. Now, again, this is going to be a growth stock most likely. How much is it? $4.25. Growth stock. Okay. So here's the thing. You have that resistance. There's a sell signal in play right now on the weekly chart. Bearish pin bar, weekly chart, within a structure that's bearish. Not a good time to be buying if you're looking for better prices. Okay. Why buy when it can go lower? So again, I don't know what your outlook like if you're thinking as investing, but there's no swing trade there. Definitely not right now. And shorting these things is usually not a good idea because you know why? You have event risk where some stupid news comes out and next thing you know, it's up against you like $10. And you know, it came out of nowhere because a chart is not going to help you know that. Only if you had inside information would that help you. So technically, this is not very attractive for any type of swing trade. It's a bearish sign and it's likely to test lows. So if you're looking to accumulate, hey, well, at least, you know, you can take a small bite and then see if it goes to those lows, take another small bite again, but you have to do that within a planned format. Okay. I don't know what you were thinking with that, but that's the way it looks technically. Okay, let's move along here. Have a look at Block. Oh, Winter Fresh, my other Romanian. How are you? I was telling Alex the other day that, you know, I'm no longer famous in Romania. I used to be very famous there. Block. Is that? Oh, you have to again tell me if it's I get the wrong symbol in there. You have to tell me if it's the correct symbol. Put USDT if that's a coin. All right, so let's take a look. This looks like a mess. What is this? Man, you guys mess around with something like that? I mean, that's horrendous. I am buying 5 to 10 at a time. Okay. All right, Steve, as long as you have a plan. I mean, there's certainly, because it's not the time to buy yet, but all these growth stocks, they're going to be similar. Okay. I really don't care what they do. They're going to be similar. All right. So when the time comes, when we get easy money again or cheap money, you're going to see them come back. Right. And so if you have some inventory, that's great because you will be in while everyone else was too afraid to get in. You'll have some, and then you can keep putting on more, right? That's the idea. So anyway, this thing here, BlockNet. I mean, first of all, how much is, well, okay, this thing is like 20 cents, something like that, 19.5 cents. You have a consolidation here, right? See that consolidation, that rectangle I put on the chart? Consolidation, general trend is bearish. I mean, this is ugly. This is most likely a lower high consolidation. There's nothing bullish about this. You may, oh, but it's a double bottom and blah, blah, blah. You're competing with all these resistances. Look at that. No way. All right. I don't care if it looks a little bullish at the moment. Unless you know something on the inside, and maybe this thing will do something stupid and irrational, I don't know. But technically, this is not a good situation yet. What you want to see for an improvement in the structure is, for one, it needs to clear resistances. It's the first thing it needs to do, clear resistances, because something that is weak does not usually clear resistances, right? So that's the first thing it needs to do. Then it needs to pull back, and then it needs to test this old area as a support. That's what you're looking for, okay? That would be much more conservative, especially when you're looking at something that looks like this, okay? That kind of structure. That's not a very bullish structure, all right, at all. So keep that in mind. Like, compare this to like the dollar index, right? You saw that dollar index chart. It's nothing but higher lows and higher highs. That's something you want to be looking to nibble at lows, not something that's just sitting on lows, especially in a market that doesn't support these type of things, right? These speculative, these might as well be growth stocks, okay? Who could I contact to teach me what to do? Are you picking on the Romanians? Don't be picking on my Romanians. I used to be famous there. Not famous there. I'm more famous in Siberia now, I think. Maybe. Okay. Germany. Guten Tag. Got some Germans in here. All right. Can you check HNT? All right, hold on. Before I do that, let me jump over to the other chat here, because I want to try to answer as many questions as I can. So can you take a look at Zim stock? Sure, Daniel. Zim. What is that? Zim. It's a stock. Shipping. Okay. Let's take a look. Interesting. Integrated shipping. Let's first, this is the weekly. So we're on the weekly. Let's take a look back here and let's see what's going on. All right. So first thing is, I see, I'm looking at this, right? The overall structure, you can argue, well, it's a pullback, higher low, but the problem is you have lower highs, right? And it keeps taking out lows. It keeps taking out supports. See that on the weekly? So you have your most recent lower high right here. See that? It's tempting to try to look at this as something like as a long, but if you're looking at a long, see how this, look how this long played out. It wasn't good for very long, right? So you can't really go into that with high expectations. You put this a double bottom, right? But it has a long way to go before it starts to prove some more compelling structure on the long side. So I would wait on something like this, okay? I don't know if you were thinking as investing or as swing trades. As a swing trade, I mean, let's see what you have here. You have inside, well, let's go to the daily chart, right? Let's go to the daily chart for that. So you have, all right, I see you have a common support right around here. It's trying, this is not really a good, you have this little minor resistance area right there, right? You're right sort of in the midpoint of that range. So in this situation, either you wait for it to test the high, right, and see how it behaves there for a possible pullback. Maybe it breaks out, okay? Let it go. Let it break out. It's not going to do this. Most likely, it's not going to do that, okay? I mean, anything is possible, but most likely it's not. So let it break out, let it pull back. That can take a week or two. Wait for the next buy signal after that. That's the more conservative thing to do. If you're accumulating, well, small, because right now we can argue that this consolidation is nothing more than a lower high consolidation. Excuse me. And since this is an NYSE stock, you know, we're not in a supportive environment for stocks. So this is likely to break the support. Okay, so keep that in mind. Again, these probabilities are not something that are like hard and fast, and I can't assign a specific number. But if the structure is not supportive and the economic environment is not supportive, probability favors the lower prices. Okay, I just don't know how much of a probability. So just keep that in mind. All right. So how you manage that is going to depend on what your plan is. You know, is it investment? Is it swing trade? And then you're going to have to go from there. All right. And how you shape your risk profile for that particular idea. All right. So let's see what else. So that's Zim. It also helps to know, like, I'm not a big fundamental guy, but if it's long term, it helps to know like what their debt situation is. It helps to know like what kind of money they're borrowing, because rates will affect it. Okay, that will definitely affect your chances. Okay, all right, cool. Let me move along here. Elizabeth, it's good to see you again. Okay, I answered that question from Steen. All right, I'm just catching up here on the chat. All right, Han, good to see you. Swahili, all right, good to see you guys. All right, I'm just catching up on the chat here. Let's see. By the way, if I missed your question, I apologize. Please just put it in the chat again if I missed your question, okay? Okay, from Slovenia. I don't know if actually, I don't think this is Slovenian word. Privet. I think that's Russian for hello. Anyway, privet. AVAX. All right, let's take a look. I know that's a coin. Okay, right? I'm assuming that's a coin. Market cap, AVAX. Let's go USD. Again, put USD after these things. Otherwise, I may look at the wrong symbol. So AVAX. A lot of these coins, a lot of these altcoins recently have like this little pop-up going on, right? Some of these, and be careful with that. So let's go to the weekly chart first. This is why I say that. Be careful. There's nothing spectacular going on here, okay? There are a lot of morons out there with big mouths, and they make a big deal out of nothing. Even something like this was more dramatic, and it went nowhere, okay? Again, that's a function of the environment, all right? So again, that's your resistance right there, and this thing hasn't even touched it yet, okay? Also, the week before, generated a bearish pin bar, which is not in effect, it's not in play. But if this current candle takes out that low, which is 1773, you have yourself a new weekly sell signal, okay? And it's likely that this thing can test that low again. So I am not a big fan of these at all. I don't care how pretty they look. I don't care what their idea is. The environment is not with these things yet. And I also understand that markets can be irrational for no reason. Some stupid, Facebook is going to use them for blah, 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 blah. And everyone gets excited only to get lured into getting stuck again and being fleeced. Okay, so we're not in the environment. I'm not buying into anything with these little pop-ups. I think they're just nonsense. I think they're just random noise, okay, for that reason. So with that being said, what to do with something like this? Are you looking to accumulate or are you looking for a swing trade? If you're looking for a swing trade, well, a short is potentially setting up, okay, for a swing trade. As far as, long and accumulation, you might as well wait for better prices. If that's what you're interested in, give it a chance to retest that low because that's likely to follow. It may not, but, you do have this little bullish structure like I pointed out, but it's not, this does not mean they're going into some kind of magical bull market. We're going into alt season again. Time to buy everything you got and borrow money against your house and buy these things, or otherwise you're going to miss out. And make sure you click on my affiliate links too before you run out of money. Okay, so nothing impressive here. Okay, and look at this. That pin bar on the weekly, look, it's a double top on the daily chart. So not liking it. All right, wait for a pullback. If you're looking for longs, this would be aggressive. At least let it test some kind of support. Well, you're sort of at a support there. I guess you can call that an aggressive long, but I wouldn't expect much from it. Okay, especially if Bitcoin starts to pull back, I would expect it's going to put some pressure on these things as well. I could be wrong, but that's where I think probability leans, and that's what I'm going to go by. Okay. All right, let me jump over here. Let me see what else we got. All right, block. I meant SQ for oh. All right, so you see, you made me look at the wrong thing. You got to be specific. Okay. Let me go back here. Can you check? All right, hold on. Going back. Why is this thing giving me a hard time here? Hold on a second, guys. There we go. All right, so I'm just going back. Hint, HNT, USDT. All right, let's take a look. HNT, USDT. What is that? Let's take a look. All right, right off the bat, I don't see much action there. Let's go to the weekly. Again, this looks like a lot of other coins, right? Like they're all sitting on these lows. Look at these structures that led to this. Look at this. Lower high, lower high, lower low. Okay, all these clowns that bought into this thing because they believed some nonsense, they're all stuck. All right, or they've gotten margined out or whatever because they thought they were in the next Bitcoin. How much is this thing? $3.98. Okay, so I mean, look at that. Completely gave it back. That's just that's a sign of garbage, by the way. All right, so here's the thing. As far as now, you have a lower high right here. Look at that bearish pin bar. Lower high, I wouldn't expect anything out of this. This is, you don't want to be buying these. All right. I know they look tempting. Oh, double bottom, this and that, but you're fighting the structure. Don't get obsessed with just this over here. That's what a lot of people do. They look for any reason to buy this thing. Look at the structure, lower high. Okay. Lower high. Resistances all over the place. I could see if we had a bond market that was turning, or some kind of evidence, or maybe the Fed came out and said, oh, we're not going to raise rates anymore. We're going to take a break. Okay, I can understand being more tempted, but there's no reason. This is just garbage. Okay. If you're looking for longs and you want to take that, you want to give that chance, an aggressive trade, what I would suggest is don't have a very aggressive target. Look for maybe a test of resistance if it can deliver that, and take your money when you can. Don't sit in it thinking that, oh, it's going to go all the way back to the high because I'm in it. Don't think that. Right? We should expect less from longs in these things in this environment. All right, so that's that one hint. So I hope that gives you a hint. I'm so funny today. What about Cardano? I am a beginner. Oh, okay. Well, welcome. You're in the right place, beginner. Cardano. You're going to learn a lot of reality here. You're not going to like a lot of the things that I say. I don't really, a lot of beginners, they just don't understand. They'd rather believe lies, and they'd rather believe hope. Okay. The sooner you can get those things out of the system, the sooner you will no longer be a beginner. All right. So Cardano, I've always given this thing a hard time. This thing sucks. And I think this thing really fooled a lot of people. All right. Just like a lot of the other coins. So this here is the weekly chart. It's all the same story. They're all trying to come back, but that comeback is not impressive at all. Look, previously, there was a more aggressive comeback, and it went nowhere. It went back to the low. So don't be fooled by this nonsense. There's nothing going on here. Okay, but maybe it's popping. No, it's not popping. It hasn't taken out any resistances. In fact, you're testing one right now. The previous week, look at this candle, the inside bar. It touched the resistance high, and it came off. So you're fooling around a bit, but I have no confidence in these things, especially in light of the environment. So what to do here? Nothing. If you're interested in a long, you're buying into a resistance. Maybe it works, but chances are it does not work. Okay, chances are it sticks, and next thing you know, you're testing the low. If you're looking to invest in this thing, small bites and wait for lows. Okay, you're better off buying the lowest prices. Imagine if you were buying all these lows, right? Just taking small bites. Yeah, the market's lower, but you know what? Your pain is going to be less, and the chances of it popping up and you having a good price are going to be better, because again, you're not expecting a bull rally, a bull market out of this. You're just buying the lows and basically positioning yourself for when the market becomes frothy again. Now, keep in mind, and I experienced this the first two. We saw two major bull runs, like in Bitcoin, 2017, right, to 2018. Then we had 2020, right? Each run, right? Bitcoin first went to 20,000, and then the second time Bitcoin ran to 70,000, basically, right? Each run, all the altcoins that followed were not the same. Okay, the superstars of the first round were not the same superstars of the second round. Keep that in mind. Okay, it seems to me in the altcoin space, the ones who win are the ones who have the best marketing and can fool the most people. That's what it seems. So Cardano may not be the big winner on the third time it runs. This thing may just, it may run a little bit, but you're not going to see anything spectacular. So don't think just because at one time, oh, it was a $5, it's going to go there again. People may say, they're not fooling me with Cardano again. I'm going to go for this new one that came out. Okay, keep that in mind. I'm going to be looking for that. Okay, I don't believe that the old ones are going to be good again, a lot of them. Maybe some of them will, but I'm not going to expect them to. Let's put it that way. All right, let's move along here. What else do I got? Dogecoin. All right, I'll have to take a look at that. Wait, hold on. How do you determine resistances? How do I determine them? Well, I look at old supports a lot of the time. I'm using price structure to identify resistances. Okay, is that the shoe company? All right, hold on. What's the symbol on that? Hold on a second here. Can I find it? Or is that, you know what? I'm going to skip that. Let me know what the exact symbol is on that one. All right, okay, I answered that one. Block. Okay, Square. So you meant Square. Let's take a look. Square is a tech stock. Square, they like do like payment processing or whatever. I know Square used to be a major, like a monster stock. Now, I mean, all right, it's $62. Okay, so here's the thing with Square. Again, look, this looks very similar to many altcoins, does it not? Same situation. You're dealing with these type of stocks, these tech stocks. You're basically, this is the NASDAQ, okay? So what do you do in this situation? First of all, you should judge the NASDAQ. Let's take a look at the NASDAQ. This is the NASDAQ, right? NASDAQ 100. Does this look bullish to you? This is a weekly chart of the NASDAQ 100. I don't care what it does day to day. Does this look bullish to you? I hope you say no. Oh, but there's a double bottom. Doesn't matter. Look, low or high. This candle is likely to close red. Perhaps CPI comes out bad and this thing closes red, right? Because we have the whole week. Who knows? But that's what the structure favors. If that's the case, stocks like Square and AMD, and they don't have much potential right now. So, if you're an investor, that's going to be one thing. So let's go back to Square. Okay. And so look, there's some gapping in there. Perhaps there's some news, whatever that is, but don't be confused or whatever. Don't think, oh, there's something happening here, right? Whatever. You have to look at the levels, and it gapped right to a resistance, right? That's why it really pays to look at the weekly chart in these situations, because it takes that gap out of there basically, right? And it says, well, that's not impressive at all, right? So if the NASDAQ can't rally, I don't care what their story is. They're not going to go very far. I mean, and look how irrational it was over here. Everything had this, right? Everyone thought the bottom was in, blah, 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 and the bottom wasn't in. A new bottom showed up. All right, so keep that in mind. This is likely to develop into a lower high. Again, I'm not saying this out of opinion. I'm saying this out of technical structure. When the market proves otherwise and the NASDAQ starts clearing resistance levels, I will be more convinced. Use the NASDAQ as your gauge, because that's basically what you're playing here. All these people think that these stocks trade on their own. These stocks don't. Okay, they pretty much, you're just all in the NASDAQ. You might as well trade the Qs. Okay, it's going to be the same. You want stocks that are not really correlated, you go for those biopharma stocks that depend on FDA approvals, and they do their own thing. Okay, a lot of them do their own thing. That's why day traders are all over those. All right, these you're in the NASDAQ. Keep that in mind. All right, let's move along. So what do I have here? Matic. Let me jump over it. So I got AVAX, Matic. All right, let's take a look at Matic. Matic USD. Let's take a look here. Oh, so this is one of the, I think this is one of those, was this like one of those, let me check band real quick. Because you had like that news or whatever, where I think, was it Facebook that was going to use their nonsense? So everyone got excited. Okay, so you have this structural change, right? Look, this is a higher low. But again, we can't ignore the economic context. One of the things that I put in my article yesterday on TradingView was that the Bitcoin correction that we've seen recently has 3 legs. And I just talked about that earlier today. What does this have? 1, 2, 3. 3 legs, okay? So that's just a corrective move. It's a corrective move of this structure right here, right? This bearish structure. So I don't trust it, and I wouldn't be buying it now. You're buying into all these resistance levels here. So only people who don't know what they're doing and get fooled by this stuff will buy this now. It's a bad place. It's a highly vulnerable place to buy this thing. If you want to buy this thing, and it doesn't hurt to put it on the radar. Maybe it does have some kind of, maybe there is something behind it. Okay, we'll have an open mind. But if you're going to buy it, wait for a test of support at least. This is your first support right now in this thing. You're looking at $1.05, and this thing is fooling around at $1. What is that? $1.26. So it has some room to pull back. Don't chase it. Now, this current candle may close as an inside bar. That's a weekly. Let's go to the smaller time frame. Okay, so you have basically, look what you have going on here. An attempt to sell at that resistance and then reversal. So there's some shorts caught in that thing. That's what that tells me. All right, but don't chase it. Right? Again, you're in a resistance area. This thing can easily climb just a little further and then fail again. You don't want to get caught in that. Wait for a support. That's how I would handle that, even for an aggressive swing trade. I mean, I think if buying this now, you're asking for trouble because you're buying into a resistance. wait for the pullback. I think that would be the best or the more effective choice. Either way, don't feel like you're missing out. That's the biggest mistake people make with these, because they get obsessed like this. Oh, this thing is gonna, at this rate, this thing is gonna be at, $10 in a few weeks, right? So please don't get mixed up with that. Okay, guys. Oh, yeah, thanks. So if you guys want to press the like button, that's always helpful. Thank you for mentioning. Hey, Kai, and FTT USDT. Okay, hold on. Let me see. How am I doing with time? I got a few more minutes, but hold on. Before I get to that, let me just jump over here and see what I see, a Dogecoin thing. Okay, I went over the dollar index. I mentioned that. I mentioned the dollar index, so I don't have to go over that again. Let's go over Doge, these meme coins. These are the worst of the worst, okay? These meme coins. This was because Elon Musk took over Twitter, and he's going to do something, right? I think that's why this thing popped on nonsense. I mean, look at that. What if you bought up in here because you believe that, and by the time you got the news, right, you know this thing is going to be the next Bitcoin, right? Blah, blah, blah. And now you get stuck in it, right? If you're not in while the accumulation was taking place, if you're not in at the early part of this and you're buying it here because it looks good, you are going to have problems every time, okay? Because again, it fools you emotionally. So what to do here? Well, pull back, okay? First thing, but keep in mind, this is a meme coin. It has absolutely no significance. I don't care what people say about it. It's just a joke. It might as well be an NFT, okay? I mean, I saw some ridiculous prices for some NFTs. I couldn't believe there has to be something fake going on with some of that, because I can't believe someone would actually pay this money for graphics. Anyway, the point is this is your support on Dogecoin, okay? This is a minor support where it is right now. Your support is here. What is that? 8 cents, almost 9 cents. That's your support, this area. So it would make sense to wait for a pullback to that. I would not be afraid that this thing's going to run away. It's not. All right. If you want to take the more aggressive trade, you wait for an inside bar like that was trying to develop now. It takes out the high of that inside bar, and then you look for a continuation. Okay. But don't expect much more than this. That would be unwise. If it can test up here, that would be a great place to take profit, especially if you've doubled against your risk, right? If you risked $1 and you make $2, you should get out. In this environment, we are not in a supportive environment. Take money while you can. That euro trade that I had, okay, that I mentioned earlier, I got out of that. I got out of that for purposes that you could not see on a chart, all right? And I locked in 200 pips. If I had stayed in that trade, it would be minus 50 pips on me right now, that same trade. But I got out with 200 pips. And how was I able to know that? Where was your oscillator? No moving average crossover? No. Okay, it was just a matter of risk. Okay, risk evaluation. FTT, USDT. Let's take a look. So that's Dogecoin. Ooh, what's this? Oh, FTX. Great. Oh, yeah. I guess they're spending too much money on celebrities. Look at that. They never contacted me though. They never wanted to sponsor me. I wonder why. Excuse me. Okay. Anyway, so look at this. Right, sitting on support. Interesting level. This thing looks like garbage, by the way. I mean, let's take a look. Let's zoom out a bit here. Let's go to the weekly chart. Okay. This is certainly one to watch. Look at that. That's a very interesting location. So Kai, you definitely have a location of interest. I like the location. I mean, we know what they do. They're an exchange and all this and all that, right? But this recent price action is not very encouraging on the long side. So all you have is the location. I wouldn't step in front of this thing, especially after this type of weekly candle. Look at that previous week's candle. All these morons that bought into it here are stuck. That's what this candle says, okay? They all got in, and now they're stuck. And most likely, as they get margined out or bang this thing out, you're going to see continuation of that momentum. That's a sign of weakness right now. So especially in light of this environment and in light of how Bitcoin's behaving, I say there's a good chance that this thing breaks that support. So I would hold off on this thing. Keep it on your radar. Unless, maybe you get a buy signal somewhere at this location, but if it clears, I mean, the question is, where's the next support? Let's look back here a bit and let's see. Where can we reasonably say the next support is? I'm going to say it's around here somewhere, right? You have it, it's around here. What price is that? You're looking at like 18.25, something like that. So that's a couple of dollars. All right, that's your next inflection point. All right, if that support clears. So I wouldn't get all excited that there's like a double bottom, blah, blah, blah. I wouldn't get excited about that right now. All right, does that make sense? So thank you for asking about FTX. Okay. Current candle on mainstream exchanges is a doji. Okay, well, don't get confused by the candles. Okay, you also have to look at context, and it's important to see how they close. I know each exchange or each data source may be slightly, there may be some variation, but you have to wait for the close. Number one. I mean, look, this is Bitstamp. Okay, this is Bitstamp over here, and then the candle may be, I mean, look, that you want to call that a doji or whatever. Okay, whatever. I mean, that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't really mean anything. All right. If this thing closes on its low, it's still weak, and there's still a sell signal in place. Don't be confused by the candles like that. Okay. Matic, I covered Matic. All right. Current BTC candle on Main Street. Okay, got that. Gevo is a green energy stock until 2 years ago. Okay. With that same move up, the volume is present now. Even I know. Okay. All right. Okay. It's a USD pair of the stock market, not Turkish lira pair. Oh, interesting. Okay. Thank you, Birak, for correcting me on that. So that's not the Turkish stock market. That was the US stock market. All right, which again, just showing you the value of that lira, right, in relation to the stock market. It doesn't matter what it's against. The chart's pretty clear, right? But thank you for correcting me on that. All right. I come here to have my hopes. All right, cool. All right, great. You shouldn't have hopes. Don't have hopes to begin with, and there's nothing to smash. All right, I got to wrap this up, people. Hold on. I'm just trying to see if there are any quick questions I can answer. Can you please, okay, actual stock, can you please look at, all right, I'll take a look at that one real quick. I don't know if you can say this, but what coin should I buy as beginner? Well, I can answer that real quick while I pull up that stock. Stick to major, right? Stick to major coins, like stick to Bitcoin, stick to Ethereum. They're major coins. All right, they're sort of. I don't like to use the word blue chip for coins because all of them are highly speculative, but at least they're the most established coins. I mean, if Bitcoin goes to zero, they're all going to zero, most likely, right? So I would work with that as a beginner and focus on the bigger picture. Don't sit there and start trying to time markets as a beginner because you have no idea what you're up against. Okay, first learn the bigger picture. Focus on the daily charts, the weekly charts, like I'm doing here. Don't go to your smaller time frames. You're going to have no idea what's going on, and you're just going to react to the obvious. Don't be Captain Obvious, okay? Because professional traders will fleece you. I'm telling you right now. All right, that's the best warning I can give you. All right, so here's the shoe company here. All right, interesting, right? Interesting move. It certainly might be a change of some kind, but don't chase it, okay? These are your resistance levels. Don't chase it. You have this nice double bottom. That could be the result of some kind of report, I'm guessing. I don't know. It certainly is interesting. Wait for the pullback. Wait for the pullback. See if this thing can test at least like a midpoint, like something like that, okay? Maybe slightly higher. Look for the pullback because don't forget, you're still, look at the trend you're competing with here. Let's take a look at a weekly chart. I mean, look at this in terms of the weekly chart. There's nothing, look at that. There's nothing spectacular. In fact, it had a more spectacular move not too long ago. And you expect this thing to go somewhere just because maybe it's lower? I wouldn't be very optimistic about this thing yet, okay? Wait for the pullback. There may be some temporary momentum change, but look, just like the other markets, again, it's a stock, and we're not in an environment that's really going to be supportive for many stocks. Okay, so that was that one. Again, if I missed your question, I apologize. It seems like most of the problems and scenarios you talk about apply to people that simply don't have a strategy. It's good that you pointed out you absolutely cannot trade based on feelings. Well, I mean, but the thing is, people think they have a strategy, but they don't realize that their feelings take over. Like, for example, if you think like moving average crossover is an adequate strategy, you have been fooled, okay? Because basically you can flip a coin and have the same result. Think about that. So is the moving average crossover a strategy? Theoretically, you can call it a strategy. Is it going to work better than flipping a coin? No. Okay, so don't waste your time. That's my point with that. So don't think you have a strategy because some fool told you, well, use the RSI and these moving averages. You have a strategy, my friend. You don't. Okay, you need to consider context. You need to understand that this is a game of chance, not a game of skill. Okay, yes, I have steps that I look at. If you want to call that a strategy, sure, it's a routine, and it basically allows me to pull specific pieces of information out of the market that allow me to make actionable choices. But my primary function is controlling risk. Okay, not my strategy is going to make me $10,000 a minute here. You're just a retail trader. Okay, so if you think like that, all right, I can't go over all these. Look at all these questions. I apologize. I was in a trade today, sushi coin, just went out with a little profit. Can you please analyze the coin? All right, hold on. Silver, UEC, BNB is probably the only coin that's stronger than Bitcoin in this environment. Okay, that could be because of their great marketing. I think you were looking for AR and Band. The ones, oh, right, Alex, I was. AR was the other one. What do you think about decentralized cloud data projects that cannot be controlled by countries? I have no opinion at all. If the market likes them, then I like them too. If the market doesn't like them, I don't like them. That's how I look at it. I mean, I look at it from the technical perspective. Maybe they have some interesting fundamental stuff going on, and maybe they have a future of some kind. But, again, I look back to interest rates and easy money. If they're great, eventually the easy money will follow and flow into them. All right. But that's a matter of opinion. I don't have opinions. So they're going to have to prove something technically, or whatever. Right. But before I believe in any of these coins going anywhere, I need to see easy money coming back into the system. And right now, there are no signs of it. Okay. So don't be fooled. All right, so there's some kind of war between Binance and FTX. There are some rumors that FTX can go out of business. Oh, that's interesting. Alex in both channels. I think that's interesting. Okay, I don't know. Drama, right? Soap opera, Bitcoin soap opera. All right. How many times you live? Where can I? Well, I'm here on TradingView. You can also check out my YouTube channel and stuff like that, and you can see, just do some homework. You'll find me. Check the links in my signature. You'll find me there too. My information there. Okay. So anyway, guys, I got to wrap this up. I'm talking too much. I'm going over my time, and I said I would not do that. If I missed your question, I sincerely apologize. I want to thank you all for joining me today. Again, come back next week. Every Monday I'm on TradingView, and at this time, and on YouTube at this time. Okay. Otherwise, you know where to find me. Otherwise, all right. So everyone, again, thank you for joining me. I hope you learned something from this stream. I hope you got some valuable information from my analysis. Okay. If you have any questions, you know where to find me. Also, I'm always open to hearing your feedback. I love to hear feedback so I can make a better experience for you. So enjoy the rest of your day, the rest of your evening, wherever you are in the world. And thank you very much for watching.